Yeah, really big game this week. Really excited to have the opportunity to play a really good Indiana team. Should be a great atmosphere. I know the crowd will be there. I know everybody will be excited. Our players will be excited. Just a big week overall. Indiana's a really good football team. Really good football team. You look at them across the board, all three phases. They got players everywhere. Coach Allen does a fantastic job. They play hard. So it's going to take everything we got to try to go win this game, but really excited for that opportunity to play in front of our home crowd in a great atmosphere against a really, really good football team. With that said, questions?
I guess, just to start off, injury-wise, I know you had the week off, but I guess how are you guys looking heading into this week in terms of availability?
To my knowledge, we have what we need. There's not anybody, unless I'm missing something, that I think we'll have all our guys that we need for sure.
I guess bye week-wise, what did you guys work on? What was the biggest key to look forward to coming into this week?
We really went back to the details of everything and playing fundamental football, getting off blocks on defense, being able to control the line of scrimmage, working our techniques and coverage, just football 101. We had a great off week though. I mean, we practiced 3 days in a row, full pads, 2 out of the 3 days, got after it. Really felt like our football team improved. Was a very positive week. Coming off of Army, we were really disappointed about the loss. We felt like, we can be a good football team. We showed some really good things at Army, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that we got to get cleaned up, and we tried to address those last week. Felt like we really worked hard on it. We'll hopefully see it show up in this game.
All right, Coach, the first 2 games you started off pretty slow to start off the game. How do you start off, or, going into this Indiana game and have your team start off the opposite way and start off hot to start out with?
Well, I think it starts with the quarterback not throwing the football to the other team on the first drive, and I don't mind saying that. That's a challenge to Bailey. He and I have a good relationship. I felt like we started off hot, immediately the ball's moving, but then we turned the ball over. So you can't win the game with if you have turnovers. So the next thing is making sure that we stay consistent, not having penalties. I think back to the second drive of the Army game, we had 2 penalties. Man, we're moving the ball great, and all of a sudden we had 2 false start penalties. So, we got to get those corrected. But that has been a point of emphasis. Whether that can happen against a really good Indiana team, I don't know. We have a saying, start fast and finish strong, but the goal is to start fast. The main thing is, though, make sure you're playing good disciplined football. You're moving the ball. You're doing the right things. It is okay to punt. I always say you got to reserve the right to punt, play the field position game. Just can't turn the ball over and have those penalties. That's the main thing.
Coach, I think last year you had an early bye week before middle. This year, after 2 games, is that something you like doing, and what kind of benefits does that provide now having to go 10 straight weeks?
I think it depends on who you play. I'm really glad we had it after the Army game because we were banged up. When you play an offense like Army, your defense is going to be banged up. Their linemen come firing off, they cut you, all those things. So, we had a lot of guys banged up last week. So I think it was really good for us to come off the bye there with that. But every year is different. You got to look at who you're playing. And if you said, hey, if it was just a normal year, the middle of the season's probably a good time. But I'm really glad we got the bye this year coming out of Army.
Indiana played Iowa already, last week Cincinnati. They're 1-2, but some tough games there. Quarterback finished, I think, 4 touchdowns and 6 picks, but obviously they're a good team, a good quarterback. They haven't had the best showings yet, but they've got a tough schedule.
Well, if I'm Indiana right now, I'm a mad football team because I'll be honest with you, and I don't mind saying that they should beat Cincinnati, and they know that too. I mean, you get down in the red zone several times, the ball turns over. They got a 4th and 1 stop down there. Unfortunately, the quarterback did throw some interceptions. I mean, if they clean those things up, I don't even think it's a football game. I think they have a sounding defeat there, and Cincinnati is a heck of a football team. The 8th best team in the country. So, that's the challenge for us. What if Indiana comes in here and they get those things cleaned up, they don't turn the ball over, all that, that's going to be the biggest challenge for us. But at the same time, defensively, we got to try to create those turnovers, get the ball back offensively. We got to not give them the football, I do like our matchup against them. It's going to be interesting to see how we match up against those guys. But, Indiana is an extremely talented football team. If you look across the board, I don't mind saying this. I mean, they're a lot more talented than we are. That doesn't mean you win the football game. If we play good, disciplined football, make our plays when we're supposed to make it, don't turn the ball over, create turnovers, we'll have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. And that's how football should be.
Coach, you said 2 weeks ago that you're going to have to beat Army at its own game. Specifically against Indiana coming up this week, what are your keys to come out with a victory?
I think we got to sustain drives offensively. Like I said, the turnover piece will be huge. We got to make the explosive plays when they're there. If we get a guy open on a receiver down the field, we got to make the throw, we got to make the catch, and then we got to score. I think it's going to come down to that. I think defensively, almost bend don't break mentality. They are going to move the football. They are going to make their plays. They're going to have explosive plays. There's going to be times that we have a hard time going against them, with their offense and how good their offense is. The quarterback is an excellent football player, very talented player. But if we can keep them from scoring touchdowns, that will be huge, and try to get the turnovers, that will be huge as well. And then special teams has to be huge for us in this game. We got to play great special teams, play the field position game. Don't give Indiana half the field to work with, all those kind of things. And if you can check all those boxes, you'll have a chance in the fourth quarter.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, when it comes to the spy, we've talked about it a little bit now, but do you still feel that sting in your players from such a close loss against Army, even though it was still a long time ago now? Yeah,
I do, in a sense that it's motivation. I do like the fact of, I've always said to my players, the day after a football game, I'm always going to be the same, and I expect them to be the same. Doesn't matter whether we win or lose. We go back to work. We're moving on to the next game, and we have that, kind of that one snap and clear mentality, short memory, whatever you want to call it, So that's the culture that I preach here. You feel bad the day of the game, and you're riding on a plane, and you're thinking in your head all the things you could have done and all that. And then you come to the office the next day, you come in the facility the next day as a team, and you go back to work, and that one's over and done with. So I really felt like in the bye week, our guys really bounced back really good. Got a great week's of work in for sure.
He just mentioned the tough loss at Army, but you talked about finishing strong, and y'all finished really strong at Army. What type of momentum does that bring going into facing Indiana?
It helps. It helps, but we have a culture here that we want to win. It's not good enough just to say, hey, you played them hard down the stretch, and Army's tough to play against, and they're a fabulous football team with a great offense, and people may pat you on the back and say, hey, you did all you can do. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a winning program and a winning culture, you got to find a way to win. Doesn't matter who you play. And Indiana, again, is a really, really good football team. And if you look across the board, they should match up, and they've got better players across the board, But at the end of the day, that doesn't win football games, and we're here to win games. And so I told our football team, you got to have that mindset all week. Prepare like you're trying to win this football game, that you're going to win this football game. If you play good football, you do what you're supposed to do, and when you lay your head on the pillow at night, you can feel good about yourself, and that's all I ask of our football team and our coaches. At the end of the day, we're well prepared, we do what we're supposed to do, and it is what it is after that.
A little bit off topic. I know you're a family guy. The biggest probably college football story of the past week was regarding your brother in USC. I guess how much have you spoke with him since then? You've worked with him before. Any chance you try to get him here in some capacity?
I'd love to get him here. He's my brother, and he's a heck of a football coach, and he's a great person. Obviously, that's tough, but it's what we signed up for. He and I have been in this business for a long time. USC is a great place. It's a very special place, and he will always be a Trojan. I felt like he got that place back to as much as he could get it back to. He gave his whole heart, blood, sweat, and tears. There's a lot of people that love him there. I know they're going to move on and do great things, and he's going to be right there with them from here on out, because there's a saying, once a Trojan, always a Trojan, and he'll be that for sure. But obviously, as a coach, as a head coach, you got a limited time span, and he understands that. I'm sure he would have liked to got through the season and see where it went, but he's going to be just fine. He's a heck of a coach, a heck of a person, a heck of a head football coach. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of programs out there that would be more than happy to have them be their head football coach for them